Hello and welcome to the Antiquarian Outlook for week 28 of 2025, starting July 7th. I'm Spencer W. Stuart, Collections Advisor, author of Contemporary Issues in Rare Books and Manuscript Collecting, and host of the monthly webinar Collecting Insights. The Antiquarian Outlook is totally independent. Its producers do not hold inventory, nor do they represent any consignments or acquisitions mentioned. From regional houses to multinational operations, the Antiquarian Outlook covers what happened last week in rare books. For more details on my services, publications, and programs, follow the links below in the description, as well as links to various lots mentioned in this program. All right, let's get into last week's results. Monday saw lithography auctions, a legacy in ink. There were 274 lots offered, of which 69 sold, making for a 25% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 222, this first printed Latin edition of Ptolemy's Almagest, published in 1515. Estimates were set at £20,000 to £30,000, realizing £22,000. A lot that exceeded expectation was 20, this full-figure photographic portrait of the professional Italian boxer Primo Carnera in the 1930s. Estimates were set at £150 to £300, realizing £800. Tuesday, Freeman's Hindman had Western manuscripts and miniatures. There were 86 lots offered, of which 64 sold, making for a 74.4% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 31, this initial executed by Toussaint's, active in Nord-Pas-de-Calais between 1277 and 1290. Estimates were set at $6,000 to $8,000 realizing $38,400. A buy-in of note was lot 1, this initial executed by an Italian illuminator between 1100 and 1125. Estimates were set at $3,500 to $5,000. On to Wednesday. Christie's had valuable books and manuscripts. There were 128 lots offered, of which 96 sold, making for a 75% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 87, this first edition of Galileo's first published book, published in 1605. Estimates were set at £500,000 to £700,000, realizing £1,129,000. A buy-in of note, lot 123, this first edition of Charles Darwin's On Origin of Species, published in 1859. Estimates were set at £100,000 to £150,000. A lot that exceeded expectation was lot 104, this copy of Isaac Newton's Principia, with an association connected to Paul Stackel, the German mathematician. Estimates were set at £80,000 to £120,000, realizing £352,800. Another lot that exceeded expectation was 1, this tally stick in Latin, the instrument of the Royal Inquirer, from which the term stock initially derives, and a survivor of the 1834 blaze that destroyed the House of Parliament. Estimates were set at £4,000 to £6,000, realizing £50,400. Still with Wednesday, Aguttes had ancient books. There were 183 lots offered, of which 180 sold, making for a 98.3% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for lot 222, this mourning letter written by Claude Monet connected to the death of his wife. Estimates were set at €2,000 to €250,000, realizing €17,000. A buy-in of note, lot 339, this article of mail sent by balloon from France to the United States in 1870. Estimates were set at €2,000 to €3,000. A lot that exceeded expectation was 224, again a Claude Monet letter. Estimates were set at €1,000 to €1,500, realizing €13,000. Sotheby's had books, manuscripts, and music from medieval to modern. There were 161 lots offered, of which 114 sold, making for a 70.8% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 3, this Psalter from the 13th century. Estimates were set at £80,000 to £120,000, realizing just above £330,000. A buy-in of note, lot 130, this collection of autographed manuscript notes on classical literature, written by Mao Zedong. Estimates were set at £400,000 to £600,000. A lot that exceeded expectation was 4, this legal manuscript in Latin from England, written in the 14th century. Estimates were set at £3,000 to £5,000, realizing £44,450. RR Auctions had fine autographs and artifacts. There were 690 lots offered, of which 512 sold, making for a 74.2% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for lot 1, this autograph letter written by George Washington, denying psychological torture of British prisoners, dated 1786. Estimates were set at $60,000 to $80,000, realizing $68,750. A lot that exceeded expectation was 5. These manuscript extracts written by George Washington. Estimates were set at $5,000 to $6,000 US, realizing $46,279 US. On to Thursday, Forum Auctions had an online sale, books and works on paper. There were 232 lots offered, of which 190 sold, making for an 81.8% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was lot 96. This sale cataloged to the library of the late John Duke of Roxbury, dated 1812. Estimates were set at £300 to £500, realizing £3,600. A buy-in of note, lot 207. This collection of lithographs executed by Heinrich von Meyer, dated 1839 to 40. Estimates were set at £4,000 to £6,000. A lot that exceeded expectation was 158. This collection of plates from the Botanical Magazine, executed by Curtis, dated 1788 through to 1797. Estimates were set at £200 to £300, realizing £1,100. With Aguttes again, they had manuscripts and autographs. There were 362 lots offered, of which 335 sold, making for a 92.5% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for lot 724. This typescript for a novel executed by George Simenon, dated from around 1941. Estimates were set at €7,000 to €8,000, realizing €14,000. A buy-in of note, this letter by Sigmund Freud to his nephew Edward Bernays. Estimates were set at €2,000 to €3,000. Finally, on Friday, Sotheby's continued their sale, Bibliotheca Bruckeriana. There were 282 lots offered, of which 203 sold, making for a 71.9% sell-through rate. Highest price realized was for this copy of Cicero, published in 1534, with 4-edge illustrations. Estimates were set at £80,000 to £120,000, realizing £698,500. A buy-in of note, lot 1717. This 1563 copy of Livre de la Conquête, bound and presented to the Cardinal of Lorraine. Estimates were set at £60,000 to £80,000. A lot that exceeded expectation was 1767. This 1549 copy of Montalbani's Discourses, bound by the Venetian binder Thomas Mayhew. Estimates were set at £50,000 to £70,000, realizing £304,800. For a hyperlinked list of next week's auctions we have an eye on, please get in touch with us directly. Registration is now open for the August edition of Collecting Insights, the webinar series, at the emerging, expanding, and legacy levels. All registrants will receive a complimentary copy of Contemporary Issues and Rare Books and Manuscript Collecting. Please follow the links below in the description, and we look forward to receiving your registration. Well, that's been the week from here. What did you think of last week's results? Anything surprise you? Anything you had your eye on? Please make sure to put some comments below, and we'll keep the conversation going. Thanks again for tuning in. If you want to stay up to date, be sure to like this video, subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on your notifications, and let others know about this program. In addition to the weekly digest, our YouTube channel will occasionally produce deep dives on industry trends and contemporary collecting practices. Well, that's all for now, and see you next week.